y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Hannah and I'm so glad to have you join me. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos. Today I'm going to be talking about our homeschool curriculum for this year. If you're thinking about homeschooling or you're new to homeschooling, then I just want to tell you that there are tons and tons and tons of curriculum choices available. And so whatever type of family you are, whatever type of homeschool you want to have, you will be able to find something that works for your family. So what I'm sharing today is just what we have found that works for us. You can take it, you can be interested in it, you can maybe look into some of it, but if it's not for you, if it doesn't work for you, that is okay. So what we mainly use in our homeschool is what people call the Charlotte Mason method, and you can look into that. There are tons of resources that would explain it better than I can. We use kind of a mix of things, so we use some things that might be considered more classical, and we even use some textbooks, things that wouldn't be considered Charlotte Mason at all. So we're kind of a mix, but if I had to pick one educational philosophy, it would be the Charlotte Mason method. So if you've watched my homeschool routine video, which I will link up here so you can watch it, then I talk about the different sections of our homeschool day. And the first thing I talk about is our morning basket routine. And so the things that we do for that are subjects that we do all together as a family. We sit up on the couch and it's mostly just reading to the kids. So the first thing is our Bible curriculum. It's really not a curriculum at all. It's actually very, very simple. I got this coloring book. I bought this on Amazon. It's simply called My Bible Coloring Book. And I bought one for each of the older kids, my first grader and my preschooler. And it's got tons of coloring pictures based on different Bible stories. And so we just started at the beginning of the book, and I just look at the scripture reference, which is right up here. And I read the passage in my own Bible, just regular, not a kid's Bible, not a colorful Bible, just I read to them and they color the picture while I read. We talk about it a little bit afterwards so they can finish coloring and we can just kind of discuss the story, but it's very, very simple and easy. The next thing is our history curriculum, which actually a lot of the time ties into our Bible story, so that's really neat. And we're using a curriculum. It looks a little big and scary because it's kind of this heavy book, but it's called The Mystery of History. And it's not as scary as it looks. The stories are really pretty quick and easy. Like this is a story and it's just this and this. Like that's all the reading that we have to do. And it has some additional activities and things. We are mostly just reading the book this year just to give the kids kind of a basis for their history stories. What I really like about this curriculum is that the author has done such a great job of incorporating Bible story history into other world history events. When I was growing up, I remember knowing history stories and knowing Bible stories, but I never really thought about how they were woven together. I always kind of thought about Bible stories as happening in this faraway land at a faraway time, but not really like at the same time as some of the history stories that I learned. So she really focuses on that in the writing, and I really love that. My kids, as well as myself, are getting to learn those Bible stories woven in with world history events. For our science curriculum, we're using Apologia Science, and this is the Exploring Creation with Zoology 1, and it's Flying Creatures of the Fifth Day. It's based on the fifth day of creation creatures. And we are enjoying this book. We chose, I wanted to do Apologia, but we actually chose this particular book because Phoebe, my first grader, is actually doing it with our co-op. So she gets to go to class every week and they do a lot of the experiments. They do a lot of the kind of extra activities. And so mostly at home we're reading it, we're doing some of her homework. But the kids are really enjoying it, and I'm really surprised at how much not only Phoebe but the boys are learning too. So those are our subjects that we do all together. Then we have what we call our table time, and we have different subjects that I work on individually with the kids. So Finn is doing a 3K this year, and so what I'm using for him, for his main thing is the Good and the Beautiful Pre-K course, and it's really just letters, numbers, colors. It's got some picture study, artwork, and things in here. And it has some hands-on activities and all kinds of things like that. So that is a really great base for us, and I am enjoying that. I am adding several things to it. This is just a preschool workbook that I got. I actually bought this at Aldi. But they have these at Walmart. Costco has them a lot of time. You can get these kind of anywhere. But they're just more tracing letters, numbers, colors, all of those kinds of activities. He is asking to do more schoolwork, so this is a great thing that I can give him an extra sheet to do, especially when Phoebe's still working at the table. He wants to do something else too, so I give that to him. Finn has also asked me to teach him to read, which has been interesting. So I decided to pull out the Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons book. I used this book with Phoebe, and it was really a great starting place for learning to read. They do not have to know all of their letters to get started because they're learning the sounds that the letters make and not necessarily the names of them. One thing I like is that it teaches a lot of the blends. Instead of just teaching a T and an H, it actually teaches like TH as one single sound. So I like that about that, and it teaches them the sounds, it teaches them blending, and by the end of the book, they are reading entire passages. So he will not get that far in the book this year. Really, we're just doing it as much as he's interested in when he asks to do it. Or if I say, hey, do you want to do a reading lesson? He says yes, like great. I'm not pushing him, I'm not pressuring him because he is still very young, but I'm really impressed with how much he's retaining. So for Phoebe, who's in first grade this year, we have a couple of different things we're using. We basically have kind of divided into two subjects: language arts, which incorporates several things, and then math. So for her language, the first thing that we're using is Explode the Code. And this is the first book in Explode the Code. It's really just worksheets in reading, practicing phonic sounds. This one is mostly on the vowels because it's the first one. So she reads these, she gets to circle things, she gets to draw lines. She really enjoys workbooks, work pages, and I think like being done with it, checking it off, circling things, tracing things, that kind of thing. She really likes that, so she really enjoys this book. The next thing is her handwriting, and we are using A Reason for Handwriting, Level A. And this is great at the very beginning, which is where we still are right now. It's just letter tracing practice. And she already knows her letters. She knows how to make them, but she just needs kind of some practice. So that's what it is at the beginning. And then once we get a little further in, she's doing her copy work with scripture. So she'll write a Bible verse and she'll copy it onto these pages that are in the back. She gets to copy them onto here. So I really like that it's incorporating scripture into her handwriting practice. So she's getting practice on writing her letters the correct way, but she's also getting something meaningful out of it too. My biggest goal for Phoebe this year is really just to become an independent reader and to be able to read and enjoy reading. So I got her just some readers. These are actually the Sunlight Curriculum readers, and this is an old copy. They actually don't look like this anymore, but they are just great little fun stories. And so she is just reading these stories, and we just read like 1 or 2 a day or something like that. And so she just gets that in for reading practice. Also for reading practice, she loves these Dick and Jane stories, and she can read them really well by herself. So that is giving her a lot of confidence as a reader and being able to literally pick up a book off the shelf and read it by herself. So we're using that. We're also using a lot of books just from the library, or just books, Dr. Seuss books, the Biscuit books, anything she's interested in. I just want her to understand that she can pick up a book and read it for herself. So then the other thing we have for Phoebe is math. And so we are using Saxon Math this year. This is Saxon Math 1. This is actually the student workbook, and this is actually part 2. There's 2 books just like this, and then a big teacher manual. And we actually did start this math curriculum last year at the second half of her year when she was in kindergarten, and we got about halfway through it, and she was doing really well. She really loved math, and so that was great. And I thought we could just pick back up after the summer was over and start where we were. But after having the summer off, I really realized that we needed some review. So we've been going back and starting kind of earlier in the book, and we're doing just some review to catch up to where we are. She really enjoys math though, and she really likes these worksheets. It's funny when your kid opens this up and says, "Yay, I get to do that today." So she enjoys math, and we are for the most part enjoying the Saxon program. We also attend a homeschool co-op once a week, and so Phoebe gets to go, and in addition to her history and science class, which I talked about those curriculums that we're using, she also gets to do a music and art class. So that's a lot of fun for her and gets to add in sort of some extracurricular subjects that we're not doing as much of at home. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that this was encouraging to you. If you're thinking about homeschooling, or if you're already a homeschooler, then I hope that you'll just know that there are tons of resources, tons of options, and you just have to find the right thing for your family. If you have a favorite curriculum that I didn't talk about, or if you love any of the curriculums that we're using, go ahead and comment below and tell me about it. I always love to hear what other people have to say about curriculum. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that I'll see you for my next video. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and click that button and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my videos. Thanks. See y'all next time. Bye.